Now going into 2024, not all of us have £599 to spend on the latest and greatest. And even though this is even set to be replaced by next year, sadly I don't think we're going to get it for under £200. However, I have three Goliaths of the game that have recently come to my attention, because they very much have hit that £200 total. So I'm going to show you the prices that all these drivers are selling on eBay secondhand at the moment. Obviously prices will fluctuate. If you want to get from a more professional secondhand seller, they're going to be more expensive. But I want to show you in their own right, all three of these drivers I'd happily have in my bag, and also give you a bit of advice how they differ from each other and which one would probably suit your game best. However, one thing that hasn't changed through all of these drivers, or potentially the ones that are coming out in the future, unless the rules of golf change that is the amount of ball speed you get from your club head speed. And I think it's important to note that at the start of the video, as sometimes when we're looking at cheaper drivers or potentially older equipment, we feel like we're missing out. Launch and spin's the biggest difference when it comes to distance. So let me tell you why I think these three differ from each other, and ultimately the best driver in terms of value for money going into the future. I should also say thank you to the boys at Replay Golf for lending me all three drivers for this video. I was slightly cocked up with one of my options, which I'll show you at the end, even though it would be my choice, and I'll explain why. But up first, the TSI 3. I'll show you the prices that this currently goes for down the right-hand side. And again, if it's in brand new condition, it's going to be selling for like $250, $260. Buy it now prices. But I want to show you evidence that this is being sold at auction online for under £200. Meaning come January, February, going into next year, especially with some new releases, that this will be able to be purchased under £200. For me, the Titleist is the most versatile, easygoing, blacked out, classic looking. It's going to appeal to a lot of you. It also makes it very simple for you guys to choose the driver that you're after. The TSI 1 being ultra forgiving. The TSI 4 I hit for the first time a couple of weeks ago in this room, and it produced some of the longest shots I've ever had. Not down to ball speed, but because the launch and spin numbers were absolutely perfect. But unlike some manufacturers, Titleist just seems very consistent from start to finish. If you want a forgiving driver, TSI 1. If you want an absolute bomb and you never miss the middle of the face, then TSI 4. TSI 3, personally, for me, I would go in my bag. It's that kind of perfect match. A bit more forgiveness than the TSI 4. And ultimately, it sounds great. And to be honest, I feel like it looks better than the older previous models. And through all of these, this is the safe bet. Oh yeah, she is hit. I know we're not talking about distance, but that's not a bad strike. 300 yards carry. Up next, I've had to go with the People's Choice. Let me explain. And I'm saying People's Choice when it comes to the most recent TaylorMade drivers. I did a video recently explaining how the Stealth was almost going for less amount of money than what I have in my hands here. Oh, it sounds good. It looks good. And it goes long. Obviously, this was the last installment of TaylorMade's drivers before they went to their carbon face. And to be fair, the QI10 looks like a love child between this and essentially the Stealth 2. My sole reasoning of what TaylorMade does better than most is that they do produce high launching, low spinning drivers. The longest hitters in the world hit the ball so far because they have such a good understanding of that high launch and low spin combination. Me personally, I think this is the second best looking driver in this list. I like the classic looking of Titleist, but it is a bit bland for me. And if I was to have a Sim 2 in the bag, it would be the max version. No adjustable weighting, because any adjustable weighting that you do put in a driver, you are essentially taking it away from the weight at the back. And the more weight at the back, the less this face wants to basically do a lot of this. And if I can get a low lofted version of this with a relatively stiff shaft in the bottom of it, well, it means that I can do a lot of that, even though I did just hit that 52 yards offline. maybe I need more weight at the back of that driver. Again, I'll show you prices of the Sim 2 Max, what it's currently going for. Condition definitely varies, and obviously price obviously accommodate that as well. Now for getting the TSI 4, because let's be honest, I'm never taking that to the golf course as I wouldn't find a fairway. So therefore, if I had to choose between these two drivers to go in the bag and I wanted to hit the longest ball on the golf course, it'd be this one. Purely because the head design from TaylorMade drivers are geared for that long ball. I mean, you can just see them side by side. This is the Max version, the forgiving kind. This is supposed to be Titleist, more players version. And even to the eye, the Titleist definitely looks larger. The point is, between these two, I could game either, to be perfectly honest. Is one going to make me hit the ball that much better on the golf course than the other? Probably not. However, if I was purely going on looks, it'd have to be the Sim 2 for myself. And if I was going for confidence, it'd probably be the Titleist. So here is my cock up. Let me explain. I remember when this first came out, I actually found it on Facebook Marketplace for £250 as someone bought it, just didn't like it. It was down the road from me. And I went and tested it on the golf course. And I actually raved about the driver. It's the first Callaway driver that's come out in an incredibly long time that I felt ticked all the boxes. And the market definitely agreed, because the Rogue ST was the next release after the Epic Speed. And at the same point of this year as the Rogue ST is now, bearing in mind the Paradigm's come out and that's soon to be replaced as well. I mean, this thing, I'll show you the prices for it. It goes for next to nothing. And this driver's only 3 years old, which is crazy considering how good Callaway equipment is. However, whether it is branding, looks, feel, sound, and let's be honest, a lot of Callaway drivers in the past have been very difficult for a lot of players to actually get up in the air. That average golfer that doesn't hit it always out the middle and doesn't necessarily have high club head speed, how do you design a driver that can do both? And I have to say the Rogue ST Max definitely was that driver. It looked phenomenal. It's the best Callaway driver that still I think's come out. I'm not a huge fan of the Paradigm look. It sounded amazing, and if you did want that long ball machine, it's there, and if you want the forgiveness, it's there. I'll show you some of the prices that it's currently going for, because it is holding its price a lot better than all previous Callaway models, which goes to show how popular the driver was and still is, meaning a lot of people are keeping it in the bag, but you can see it go for under £200. And to be perfectly honest, it would be my pick to go in my bag in 2024, mainly for all the reasons that I've listed above. However, at this point, you're probably thinking, Simon, why don't you hit it and show us for yourself? Well, stupidly, I bought a brand new one from Replay Golf, and I'm not going to take the wrapper off because I'm pretty sure the boys would want to sell it for more with, well, the wrapper on. That being said, the Max LS version would be the one I'd go for. Very similar design to the TSI 3. When you compare them side by side, they've essentially got the same kind of length front to back, same kind of width from heel to toe. However, I have to say, when it comes to looks, this one just takes it for me. They both sound as good as each other, and hopefully through this video, I've highlighted how similar quite a lot of the manufacturer's equipment, well, are these days. Guys, I hope you like this video. If you want in-person coaching or second-hand club fitting, sasgolfacademy.com, or if you want online tuition, message me on Skillist, as I've got my new profile on there, and I'll catch you in the next one.